What's up, everybody? On the podcast now. I'm Alex. In this video, we have a lot to talk about. The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, obviously both having release dates. I want to talk about what they are, go over my impressions, kind of, again, try and summarize what's been going on with Sony. I'm also going to talk very, very briefly about those Last of Us Part 2 leaks. I'm not going to get into them, just in case you guys are seeing this now and are afraid now to continue the video. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I do want to have a discussion on those leaks just because so many have asked. So, this is big. This is absolutely what a way to wake up on a Monday, right? Because that's what I did. That I was awake. I was checking through the comments. I saw a couple people say, like, the dates have been given. I was like, oh my god. I looked online and then there they obviously were. So this is, I don't want to be super like pump my ego up, but you know what? I 1000% called this. This is literally what I said since the first day. Now, is it on Ghost of Tsushima's day? Did The Last of Us get June 26th? No, I'm not actually sure why they couldn't have done just such a simple give it that day, because now it's June 19th, right? Last of Us Part 2 is June 19th. Ghost of Tsushima is July 17th. Literally, I believe, almost the same amount of days separated than what it was going to be, right? Because it was going to be May 29th and June 26th. It's almost the exact same amount of days separating them, the same way, just kind of moved. I don't necessarily understand why late June all of a sudden was just like, well, we don't need to do it June 19th. It is now, right? Fascinatingly enough, The Last of Us, which people had pointed this out, funny enough, right? Where The Last of Us Part 2, rumored to have been delayed till June, right? When we were talking about the possibility, people had said, like, think about the irony of that. Think about the irony of it being delayed till June, right? Because The Last of Us originally came out in June. I know a lot of people dating back to last year, including myself, I thought this could have been a June 2019 game, right? Now, again, it turns out they wanted it to be a fall 2019 game. But it's just weird how kind of, the universe or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to believe in, but it's weird how that kind of all adds up or lines up to have this come out 7 years later. Not necessarily to the day. I believe that was June 13th was The Last of Us, but very, very close to it. So fantastic that The Last of Us, we only get less than, it was literally like 3 weeks, right, or like 2.5 weeks. And Ghost of Tsushima moves from June 26th to July 17th. We've talked about this. July is a weird month. July normally doesn't get many games. It normally gets kind of smaller games, more like indie or like just weirder projects. Last year, obviously, we've talked about it numerous times. Nintendo really said, you know what, forget that. We're going to just release some really big games. Fire Emblem, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Super Mario Maker was late June, I think June 28th last year. So you had these games released. I believe Dragon Quest Builders 2 was also in July, like July 3rd. So you had 3 big games come out in July. Now, maybe not maybe Builders was not that huge, but you had some pretty solid games in July. You know what? Sony's picking it up, right, and saying, you know what, July can be a month. And we've always kind of said that as a gaming industry, like, why can't these months be big? These are the summer months, in a perfect world where, like, everything's working normally, everybody's off of school, right, because it's summer vacation. It makes the most sense to put a game out during this time because you have the most people that are probably going to be able to play it, but it's just not normally how the gaming world works. That's normally right when nothing happens, right? There's no news, there's no games that release. So you know what? From a personal standpoint, from a channel perspective, it's perfect because again, mid-July, there is nothing. Look at Wikipedia, look at any site you use to look at like when games release. There's nothing in July. July is completely empty. So that's great to just put it smack dab in the middle of July. Who knows what would come out in August? Who knows what would come out in June besides The Last of Us? And now all of a sudden, you have a really amazing summer, especially obviously if you're PlayStation, you have a really amazing PlayStation time. Now, okay, 2 really quick. So I want to talk about kind of the poor communication, and then I'm going to get into The Last of Us leaks. That's going to be at the very end, probably only a couple minutes away, okay? There is a problem with how Sony's handled this whole thing. I don't think it can really be undervalued how badly they messed this up. And I get it. I mean, I'm a big PlayStation fan, right? We cover PlayStation primarily. Look at the channel. I do Nintendo stories. I barely do Microsoft stuff, but I would consider it in the future. But we're mainly Sony, so I don't want people thinking, oh my God, I'm so anti-Sony. But they've messed up here, and it's just very hard to try and give them the excuses, right? Because we've said it time and time again. Why didn't they just, the day they delayed The Last of Us, say, you know what, we're going to move Ghost, we're going to put The Last of Us there, we're going to move Ghost another month or two, which is literally what they did. I know you guys were saying it, right? My prediction was what, June and August, and some of you guys, Grimes on the radio, right? A couple people said like late July, like the last week of July. You guys were very close. I was pretty close, right? Because I said early August or even late August. So we were all in the ballpark. We all called this, and we all actually did. Prediction-wise, we did an amazing job. All those people saying The Last of Us needs to come first and then being ridiculed that that's not how it works, that's how it worked. And that's another thing right there is there's so many dynamics to it that, again, Sony, I feel like has some explaining to do because clearly they want The Last of Us Part 2 first. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. And again, for any people that just don't believe that yet, I really don't know how, because you just look at it, they delayed Ghost. There's really no reason to delay Ghost of Tsushima. They could have put The Last of Us Part 2 after Ghost, right? The Last of Us could have came out in July. Why didn't they do that? Why? It's because they want The Last of Us Part 2 out. I mean, it's as simple as that. Now, did the leaks have anything to do with it? Because I think people will probably jump on that first. Now, I'm recording this, obviously. You guys are going to see this pretty soon after this came out, that the release dates are out. I don't know if there'll be additional stories throughout the day or tomorrow, and if there are, I guess we can cover them too, but I don't know if there's going to be like people speaking up saying, it was because of that massive Last of Us leak that they had to get it. I really don't think, again, follow the predictions, follow what we've been saying all along. I think this was always the plan to get The Last of Us out before Ghost of Tsushima, and so ultimately they kind of delayed Ghost just to do it. They delayed Ghost for the same purpose, but different reason that they did The Last of Us, right? Last of Us Part 2 is done. They're finished. It hasn't gone gold, but they're done with it. The best you can do now is continue to polish it, do the multiplayer, right? Because we know they are doing the multiplayer. That's it. But the game, for all intents and purposes, is done. Ghost of Tsushima, honestly, same thing, right? They're delaying it a month, but they're just delaying it a month to get it out of The Last of Us's way, but it's done. It'll be done at that time. So they'll pretty much, again, be sitting on it for a little while. And as a game developer, you don't want to do that, and normally publishers don't have game developers do that. Obviously, these are extraordinary times, right? They're very, very different, that these things kind of just happen. So again, I get it. I understand it. I understand why they did it. I get wanting The Last of Us to come out first. It's just, again, the communication was so poor pushing Ghost, or not pushing Ghost originally, just to ultimately do what all of us had said that they were going to do. I guess not everybody, because some people just didn't think of it. But if you guys have been watching here, right, we all kind of thought that this could happen, and now it did. So honestly, it feels really good to get a prediction this right that we did. I know a lot of people call me out on my prediction making skills here, but you can add this to my list of getting predictions right. Someone should make a list, that way I can actually look at it. Okay, the last part of this is The Last of Us Part 2 leaks. Again, I'm not going to spoil it. It's more of like a personal thing. It's more of like a discuss thing. I did see it. I saw the leaks. Funny enough, there's actually a set of fake leaks going around too. So you gotta be, if you're one that wants to get into it, into the nitty gritty, and you go into that rabbit hole, you may find something that's not actually real. And I did. And if you look at it, something absolutely massive, was spoiled. I obviously you can't say it, and I won't say it, okay? But then there's something else that actually I would say is even bigger than that was like fake spoiled. So you do have to be careful with it overall. I went down that rabbit hole. I'm disgusted. I don't like what I know now. It really does suck. It honestly does suck. But at the same time, I am relieved that the one that I thought was real is now proven to be fake and wasn't from the same person. On the note of the person who did it, people were saying there was like a Valve leak, and I've heard of it before. I just don't know too much about it, so I really can't talk about it. But there was a leak with Valve as a company back many years ago, like almost a decade ago. That has kind of notoriously been thought of as like the biggest leak in gaming. I just saw it very briefly in like a article. I don't honestly know that much. That you guys can let me know what that leak was that was just so massive. This one I feel like is right up there, and people have said that this leak is like what that person did is awful. I know people like leaks, and we talk about leaks, right? I talk about leaks almost every day. Every day I do like a video on a rumor or a leak of like a game. I think they're okay for them. But those are like leading into the game when people don't know about it yet, or they're like features. This was like a major, like if you know this part of the game, most of the game, I'll just keep saying words so you guys get confused, so you guys, don't say that I'm ruining it for you. Like, it sucks. It sucks knowing it going into this game now. I don't think it's the worst possible thing that could have happened. I think there could actually have been worse things. But, like, this is unexcusable from a person. And I know we do, like, ending explains, like, we talk about the game's ending, like, the day it comes out, stuff like that, but, like, we don't spoil it in the title, we don't spoil it in the picture, those kind of things. Those are tough, because, sometimes they'll appear on, like, recommended pages, or, like, the browse, stuff like that, and people will see it, and so, people may get upset, but I think ultimately there is a difference between that and what this person did, right? Spoiling something this major a month before the game releases. People wanted to know certain things, but ultimately, you always have to question what you actually want. Be careful what you wish for, right? Because you may actually get it. So again, I see it. It's not like an ending explained. It's not like talking about the ending of the game the day the game comes out or a movie comes out. Especially if you're hiding it in, it's not in the title. It's not in the thumbnail. It's not in the description. All that kind of stuff. If it's not there, then you have to actually click on it to see it all. What happened here is you could go on Twitter, you can go on this stuff, and you will see people in the and it's also people's fault. I mean, this person leaked it, but then obviously people took it and posted it everywhere where you can see cutscenes, you can see gameplay, you can see the multiplayer code and the main menu. I mean, that's not the biggest thing in the world. I'm actually happy that we got to see something like that. That's not the biggest thing in the world. But the actual leak itself, like, it is unexcusable. I don't know how this person is going to have a job. It was I guess rumor has it, although nobody's really confirmed it, but rumor had it right. It was a ex-Naughty Dog employee. I hope he plans on being an ex-gaming employee, because no one in their right mind would ever hire this person, ever. And trust me, I'm sure they'll know who it is if they don't already. So this person is never going to work in the gaming industry again. I don't know why. I don't know why you'd spoil. It sucks, because you really ruined a lot for a lot of people that saw it, or even people, again, that took it and spread it. And again, you go on Twitter and you see it, like, literally in the tweet that says, like, well, he confirmed blank. And it's like, oh my dear God, like, you see that and there's no unseeing it. So it's tough. I don't want to talk about it. I'll be honest with you, straight up and honest, because that's what we do on this channel. I try and always be really upfront with you guys. I considered it. I considered making a video talking about the sport. I wouldn't have it in the title. I wouldn't have it in the thumbnail, but I would have, like, a discussion on it. I just didn't feel like, I guess if there's, like, overwhelming support to do something like it, maybe, but I just don't know. I don't think, my gut feeling tells me I don't think it's a good idea to do. I think too many people would be upset of it, even if I hid the what it is from the title, from the thumbnail, from all that stuff. I think people would still be mad for discussing it before the game comes out. Again, I think there even is a difference between a month before the game comes out and when the game, like day one, when people haven't gotten to the ending yet, or some people have, but not everybody has. I even think there's a difference there. So I guess if you guys want it, you really have to show me that you want it in order for me to talk about it, because I don't know if it's worth the risk. But, we will be talking about it. Once the game comes out, we'll be talking about all things The Last of Us. So to wrap this up, very, very exciting. I mean, that, the leak part sucks and that's awful and all that stuff, but these games coming out, great. It really just moves what we were already going to get literally 1 month. Now we get The Last of Us in June instead of May, Ghost of Tsushima in July instead of June, but they're still happening. Both of them are still happening, like in 28 days apart from each other, somewhere in that range. So very, very exciting. We're going to be having coverage on both of these games leading into it. So I think starting like mid-May, we're going to start having tons of Last of Us stuff. We'll play the multiplayer. We'll see if we can do something, even playing with you guys. We'll do the multiplayer. I'm going to replay the game. We'll have videos, talking about The Last of Us Part 2. And then same thing with Ghost of Tsushima. When it gets to June, we'll start talking about Ghost of Tsushima. Leading into July, we'll be covering the games when they're out, all that kind of stuff. Loads of coverage of those two games, obviously, plus any other games that release around the same time. But these are like our big two games for the summertime, okay? So very, very exciting from a channel perspective, from a personal perspective. The Last of Us is so special to me, so I really, really can't wait. Does it suck that I know what I know? Yeah, but I still am very, very, very excited for both these games. Honestly, both of them had me really excited. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, thank you for all of you that told me about this. As always, if you guys see something that you think is like newsworthy or big that maybe I haven't seen yet, you could always let me know in the comments on Discord. Discord, on Twitter, any of those places, an email, I guess, and I could definitely, if it's big enough or something that I connect to enough, I'll definitely make a video on it, okay? Thank you again for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.